Hi, my name's Alan. I'm a lived experience peer support worker here at Foster House. My lived experience is of homelessness and addiction. So breakdown of marriage. I suppose being Catholic, being Irish, breakdown of marriage is a huge cultural thing as well. And going through family court and all that, I was 11 years sober at the time, gamble free, had my own financial planning business, office in the city, an office down in Wollongong, an office up in Brisbane. I was doing really well. My child was going to Scots, living in decent suburbs, but yeah, it was all, I wasn't being my authentic self. You buy into that kind of lifestyle and it's not. I come from the arsehole of no place, the farm. So yeah, I suppose some things have to happen for a reason too. I think they definitely do happen for a reason. I first, I suppose, came into contact with Link to Home after coming out of a rehab about 9 years ago. It was something I'd never knew about before because I never accessed services until I actually needed them. And at different times since then I've used them. I've had mostly good experiences, to be honest. Especially a few times when I phoned in a Saturday night and I got sorted out, which was good. The most recent time that I've used them was about just over 3 years ago, and they advised me to come here to Foster House. At the time they had a short-term stay, crisis accommodation, and I was given a couple of nights here, and from there I ended up getting case managed. So I didn't have to go back to DCJ and do that dance, which was great because I got sorted here. So, I've over the years I've quite frequently used Link to Home. Yeah. So the first time I came to Foster House, it was different back then. So it was half case management and half crisis accommodation, so temporary accommodation. You had just over 100 people in this building. Right now we only have about 50, 51. And it was pretty full on back then. I had come to Foster House because previous to that I was 11 years sober. And I'd come to Foster House to bring support some people to come into a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And I even found that intimidating then, but to actually come in and stay, they had a dormitory room at the time. There was 25 of us in one room, and it was, you put your belongings underneath your pillow and you slept with one eye open, and throughout the night people would come in and they would be, because the police used to drop people off at the time, so it was a lot different to what it is now. Definitely not trauma informed, and it wasn't a place that you wanted to stay in for too long. If you were trying to stay clean or get clean, it wasn't a place to get clean because there was probably more drugs in here than there was on the street that time. So initially I was sleeping on the streets at the time in Tweed Heads, and I couldn't get supported up there because I had bounced between Tweed and the Gold Coast, and I came back to Sydney because I was familiar with the Foster House. I've been at Edriga Lodge, I've been all the way down to Nowra, Wollongong as well, so most of the men's short-term accommodation. And I came back, and initially I went into DCJ and they said, you're not making enough of an effort, so I phoned Link to Home and they said to come into Foster House, and I was lucky. I got a couple of nights accommodation, and then on the Monday I got assessed, and Luca and Zach, who are both team leaders now, were there, and they took a leap of faith because at the time, my previous stay, I had cancelled my centre pay deduction, and they'd asked me to leave because I have issues with gambling as well. And yeah, I still had a debt, and yet they still took me back. So I suppose I'm super grateful for that they took that leap of faith. That this time I might dig in a bit deeper. So I'm part of the To Get a Homes program, which was a housing initiative that came out of COVID. And while I was here in Foster House during COVID, they put some of us into Stanmore House, which is a Salvation Army accommodation. And so I had my own one-bedroom unit there, which was great. So there was a bit of normality there. And then I got housing through Together Homes. And while I was in Stanmore House, I applied because I've spent 12 years as a financial advisor prior to that, and I was kind of like over that world. I felt like a fraud because I'd been bouncing in and out of homeless shelters and gambling and all that kind of stuff. So giving financial advice, it didn't align with how I felt. So I thought I'd get into peer work, so I applied to New South Wales Health while I was in Stanmore House, and just to see what the interviews were like, and they gave me the job. So things started to change then. I got accommodation in the inner west near Stanmore, and it's really turned the corner then. I started volunteering in the community. I think that's an important part, is trying to get connected to the community that you're living in, and connecting with other services, not just Salvation Army. So Bill Cruz, Addison Road, Newtown Neighbourhood Centre, all these. So I actually, when I was upset with Salvation Army, I could actually go somewhere else. All my eggs weren't in one basket. So yeah, things started to slowly progress because I was working a roof over my head that felt secure and and affordable as well, which was great. Yeah, so lived experience, peer support work is probably a bit different than support workers in that our job there is to model recovery. We've been there. We've got a small team here, and we all have, I suppose, different lived experiences, but the common denominator, what binds us together, is that we have a lived experience of homelessness. And so we use that lived experience to motivate the men to, I suppose, show the men that it is possible to move on, to build a life again. And I suppose we try and hold a space, not try and fix them, let them find out what their solution is, and advocate. Advocacy is a huge thing that we have to do as well. So whether it's with the support workers, understanding that it's normal for someone to react the way they are. Just because they're shouting and just because they're loud, it doesn't mean that they're dangerous. It doesn't mean that we need to look at our accommodation. That's how sometimes people communicate when they're struggling with their mental health. And I know myself that I've experienced that, and so we can help to build empathy and compassion and acceptance of of how they're behaving, and not to put them in a box straight away. Yeah. Foster house has changed a lot through the years. Before, they used to do a lot of nighttime checks, daytime checks, morning checks and stuff. So now it's about building the capacity now. So we don't do all those checks. So in the morning, they can come down to breakfast. Breakfast is served at 8 o'clock. During the week, it's a cold breakfast. It's like what you would have at home, cereal and toast. And then at the weekend, we have a hot breakfast as well. They get lunch during the day. 2 or 3 days a week, it's probably sandwiches, but other days on a Friday, they'll have fish. On a Wednesday, they might have a barbecue. And then at 6 o'clock in the evening, they have dinner. Dinner's a home-cooked meal. Everything that's cooked in Foster House is fresh. It comes in, it's not donated, it's cooked by chefs. And then at 8 o'clock, they can come downstairs and they can have, generally we get some donations from Oz Harvest, whether it's cakes or TAFE and Ultimo also give us cakes on a Thursday and Friday. They can have a slice of cake, a pack of crisps, a cup of tea just before they go to bed. And we have like Netflix in the chapel. They can watch a movie, they can get into a series. There's television rooms on every floor. There's library, there's pool table, there's table tennis. So there's stuff that they can do while they're here throughout the day as well. The case management, it's all case managed now. We have a couple of overflow beds, but the majority is case managed, where because we're using housing first principles, we get the application in because they're homeless. We try and get them on priority. We try and then work on the outside issues after that. So The case managers have been here for quite a while, so I think I've had them case manage me all at one stage, so they know what they're doing. And Foster House is very good at getting people into housing, but you just got to stay here long enough for it to happen. Where my apartment is that I got through Together Homes, there's a community space next door, and so I set up a drop-in safe space. So every Friday and Saturday night, anyone that's struggling with suicidality, mental distress or loneliness can go drop in, have a cup of tea and a chat. And through that then I've set up a collaborative as well in the Inner West for suicide prevention, and so now I'm constantly speaking to LHD, PHN, Headspace and all that to try and build those pathways, but there still is not somebody that is actually doing that job. There's an awful lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars being poured into mental health, but it's been given to the big organisations when you're better giving it to grassroots. You get a better bang for your buck, and you need to involve community in it, not just people that have gone through university to learn about it. You need people that have actually experienced it in it. So yeah, I've spoken around different things, but yeah, definitely I'm kind of passionate around homelessness and suicidality at the moment, because those are the two things for me. That was an option because of the homelessness, suicidal ideation, suicidal thinking, suicide attempts. Yeah, because you get sick and tired of the runaround. It's tiring, you know. I thought we saw during COVID that we were able to get everybody off the streets. We were able to house everybody. At one stage, Clovermore was able to name the 8 people that were homeless in Sydney CBD. So if we're able to do it when the appetite is there, why can't we do it when the appetite isn't there? So right now, it's not people aren't homeless by choice. It's systematic choice. It's government choice, because they're making decisions. There's thousands of houses around Sydney and the state that are empty. Like, they've made the choice not to house people, you know, and not to support people. So I would say that homelessness, having your own home is a basic human right. Renting, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to own your own house, but we know we can do it when the appetite is there. Like, the Together Homes program still hasn't been refunded, yet it's proven to be so successful to get people into good, affordable accommodation, and it's not been refunded. It doesn't make sense. Things still aren't perfect. I still haven't seen my kids in 8 years. So every problem that I had when I first came here 8 or 9 years ago, I went to rehab, I probably still have, but because of housing, that whole hierarchy of needs, for me, security is a roof over my head, and everything else can fall into place. I can have a bad day at work, I can have a bad day just in life, but at least I've got a roof over my head. It's mine, I feel safe. And that's what I say to the guys here. Don't tell anyone where you live. Make new friends, get connected with the community, and do some volunteering, because that helps with self-esteem. When you feel like you feel worthless, doing something for somebody else definitely fills the cup. So yesterday I volunteered for 3 different charities, you know, because it's better than, what else am I going to do on a Sunday? Drink, watch the footy,